Hello everyone, welcome back to Fraser 1515 Gaming's ninth episode of the LA Kings franchise rebuild series. We are back here in season 3 after a little bit of a hiatus. I guess the world's kind of going to shit right now with the whole coronavirus issue, and I figured it would be no better time than to jump back on and pick up where we last left off. So where we last left off was at the end of free agency. And since then, I took a couple days and I was playing some games. As you can see, I kind of wrecked the computer a couple times. So as much fun as that was, I think I'm going to get back into simulating some and see how many more seasons we can get done, and if we can actually bring a Stanley Cup back to Los Angeles. So just kind of a reminder as to where the team's at and how the team is looking. We'll go through the lines and look at who could be potentially coming and going, where the team's heading, any kind of prospects, and that kind of stuff. So our first line, we have Adrian Kempe, Alex Turcotte, and our first-round pick from last year, Henrik Tellqvist. He was actually our second first-round pick, I believe. He turned it out to be very well. Then we got Jeff Carter, Anze Kopitar, and Mike Hoffman, all here in the second line. Then we have Quinton Byfield, Gabe Vilardi, as well as Alexander Holtz on the third line, with Grundstrom, Adam Lowry, and Jarrett Anderson-Dolan on the fourth line. On defense, we have Sergeyev and Doughty, followed with Chris Tanev, Jake Muzzin, and then Tobias Bornfoot and Jason Demers on the third pairing. And in nets, we have Ilya Sorokin and Alex Nedeljkovic. For our scratch players, we have Luke Snugard, probably not going to get much time, Brett Connolly, and Zach Ashton-Reese. So I'd say we definitely are built for the future. We might look at moving some of these guys this year if we can't get into a playoff spot, but we'll see where we're at, later on in March. Down on the farm, we do have quite a few promising prospects. We have Austin Wagner, who really is just depth at this point. I don't see him coming in and making much of an impact, but we also have Philip Hallander. He could be definitely a contributor for us either later this season if we trade guys away, or possibly next season if he gets more stat growth. We also have Oscar Ekman, who was another first-round pick of ours this year. He probably is looking like 1 to 2 years away, but that's all right. He's only 18 years old. There's still plenty of time for him to progress and turn into an even better player than he already is. We then have Rasmus Kupari, as we all know. He's a former first-round pick of the LA Kings back in 2018. He's looking promising, probably another couple years for him as well. Then we have Vladimir Perzogin, second-round pick that we had, I think that's 2 years ago now. So he didn't really grow much over in Russia last year, and I decided to bring him over to North America and see what we can do to maybe get him a little bit more stat growth. Samuel Fagemo, he is looking, not looking great. Maybe he might be trade bait for us, but at this point in time, I don't think we're really in a position to be trading away any prospects. We then have Jan Mizak, who is a prospect that we drafted in the first draft. He's a fourth rounder. He does have good potential, but he's still a little bit away, so we'll see if we can get him any more stat growth. We also have Akil Thomas, who seems like quite the young individual. Just listening to him on Spit and Chicklets last week was incredible. His story and everything that he's gone through, and I guess the brand that he started for himself is really incredible, and I can't wait to see what he can do in the NHL in the future. And you never know, maybe he might even get a cup of coffee this year or next year, depending on how well his development goes. Aiden Dudas is another one of our young prospects. You never know. He's 21, 72 overall, so there's potential for him to get there. And then we just kind of filled out our fourth line with younger guys who could still potentially grow, but are more than likely at the end of their growth stage. Also, Mason Marchment, I really was kind of hoping he would get a little bit more of a bigger chance with the Leafs. I kind of liked what he brought to the team, a little bit more big body toughness kind of guy. On defense, we have Kale Clegg and Igor Rykov, both guys that I envision probably on the back end either this year or next year, up with the top team. Then we have Sean Dursey and Mikey Anderson, two other guys that I definitely envision with the team. And we also have Marcus Phillips and Kelton Hatcher, Darian Hatcher's son, on the bottom pair. So our goaltender is Yaroslav Askarov and Matthew Welsh. So hopefully Askarov, he wasn't really getting much stat growth over in Europe, so I decided to bring him over as well. It wasn't even that he was playing bad, it's just that I find Russia doesn't really develop prospects that well. And in terms of who we have on the bench, we have Walter Flower, Patty Kite, and Justin Bergeron. So we're probably in the market maybe for another forward, but we definitely have depth. In terms of unsigned prospects that we have in the system, we do have quite a few guys that are looking promising. So we'll just give you a quick peek at them. So we have Peter Reynolds, who you never know, he might be able to make the NHL next year, but he'll be able to go back to I guess they're Winnipeg now, and tear up the WHL, go to the World Juniors, probably run amok there, and you never know, maybe this time next year he'll be playing in the NHL. We also have Zane Fenton, who was a draft pick of ours, I think last year. Yeah, last year, 2021 draft. He's looking pretty good. It was his second turn through the draft, so he probably is going to be a little bit higher of an overall, but 19 years old and already being a 70 overall, there's definitely some potential there, even if it's just a third pair defenseman. We also have Mikhail Chistov, who's another one of our low elites from last draft. He's looking, he's definitely going to need another probably 2-3 years of development, but you never know where's he playing. Over in Russia, he already has over a point a game in Russia as a 20-year-old, so he could get really good stat growth this year and then possibly even make a jump over to the NHL next year. We also have Evan Gibbons, who's another one of our picks from last year. I really went heavy on the U.S. development program. Matthew Whitmore, another one of our first round or picks from last year. So I think we definitely have a significant amount of players that have potential and could contribute to our team in the next couple of years. So let's get on with a little bit of simming here. And while we're doing that, maybe I'll just kind of like give you a little bit of a rundown of what I've been doing to keep busy for the last, I guess, close to a month, because we've all been in quarantine. Well, not quarantine, so I have no symptoms or anything like that, but where I live in Nova Scotia, they pretty much put a shutdown on any kind of travel or going to visiting, so that means no going to visit my girlfriend, only able to see her by FaceTime. The only place you can really go is to the pharmacy or the grocery store to get your groceries, and even doing that, we're not going to the grocery store because the superstore in my neighborhood had to shut down yesterday, as there was a employee there that tested positive for COVID-19, so they had to scrub the whole entire store down before they could allow customers to go back into the store. So luckily I've been able to work still, because I work, well, I haven't really said this yet, but I work for Sobeys at the head office. So I'm a retail accountant there, so I've been deemed an essential service, as they still need me to work to provide stores with financial statements as we're coming up on our year end here. So luckily I've been able to do that to keep myself busy, because if not, I'm sure that I would be going almost out of my mind now. But other than that, yeah, it's just been really long. I started playing FIFA a little bit. I bought that game, and do I ever love it? I think it's one of the better games that I've played in a while. So you never know, I might be bringing some content for that. I also joined an EASHL team with some of my buddies from school, and that went pretty well last night. I gotta say, I really enjoyed that, and I'll probably be playing that a little bit more later on this weekend. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of news. Life's been pretty boring, but there's no real better time to bring maybe this back than right now. You know, everybody's probably searching around on YouTube looking for something to watch. So let's give the people what they want. And I guess with that, I'll pick it back up. Oh, actually, I think we're almost done simming as to where we were going to go. So let's go to our Adam Lowry's back too, so we'll put him in the lineup. Let's go check out where our prospects, how our prospects are developing. If anybody's getting any real good stat growth or anything like that. So actually, whoops, that's not good. So I guess this is time where we're gonna have to call up one of our young guns, or not young guns, I guess, but we're gonna have to call up. I'm thinking possibly Kale Clegg. We'll be needing, or maybe we'll call up Rykov. One of the two. It'll all probably depend on who needs to go through waivers. So they'll both need to go through waivers, and Kale Clegg's also hurt. So maybe we'll bring up Mikey Anderson for now. He won't have to go through waivers to go back down, and we can get that rolling. Actually dress a full six D-men, still going short on the back end. Do this, best lines, and we'll just have to redo this right quick. Kempe back on the top. No Byfield, that's weird. So I'll put Byfield in here and put him down, and let's go with that. Actually, let's see how his Holt's doing. He was doing well. Gabe Velarde's still tearing it up. Maybe we give him a chance on the top. What's his 77? So is that a big drop off? 80, yeah, kind of is. Let's give it a chance. Actually, let's stick with what was working. So we'll go with that. And Jared Anderson Dolan going for the Cy Young. Let's see, back to edit lines. Yep. So do this, best lines. Redo this a little bit. So I want Kapari on the wing, Vajemo up, him up. He goes like that. We want Aiden Dudas playing on the top. Switch him. And the best face-off man there is Vajemo. He ain't getting much points. Really nobody's putting up points. A lot of negatives, so that's not good. Look at that, 7 goals, 0 assists. Per Zogan, how are you? Maybe we swap him with him and see if we can get a little bit more progress out of them. I'm also kind of thinking, no, I probably shouldn't put 3 rookies all on one line. Let's do this. See if we can get Fajemo going. Kapari, and on defense, they brought in Patty Kite and Walter Flower to do the job. So we only have 1 spare now in that part of the organization. So let's check and see our NHL stats, and then we'll go and take a peek at how our prospects are doing in the CHL and the U.S. development program. So these stats are a little bit inflated just because I played so many games there at the beginning and really, improved our stats. But there's definitely some good seasons going on here. I might jump in occasionally and play games from time to time. Let's just see how everybody else is doing in the league as well. Oops, wrong one. So Mike Hoffman is leading the league in points, which is a little bit of a surprise. Jeff Carter, Turcotte, Gabe Velarde's up there. Henrik Telquist is up there as well as an 18-year-old, so good for him. Rookie scoring is all my guys. Yeah, that's nice to see. Dylan Sandberg, I noticed that he just signed a contract with the Jets last year. He's going to be a stud. He is going to be one hell of a defenseman. I wonder if we'll be able to maybe try and make a play and acquire him later on and in the future. Our goaltender is possibly going to get Rookie of the Year too. He'll be in contention, just because we don't really have anybody else. But it looks like Jake Ottinger finally made the NHL, as did, holy smokes, Spencer Knight, 83 overall already. Yeah, wow, he's pretty good. He definitely took a different turn than Yaroslav Askarov did. But Lucas Dostal, he's also over, so that's kind of interesting. Nedeljkovic hasn't really been pulling his weight, but I don't know, what can you do? Nico Daw is there. the World Junior goalie. He kind of got shredded online, but I don't know. It is what it is, and he also isn't looking that bad. So there's a lot of cost control goaltenders, it looks like, across the NHL right now, or rookie goaltenders, I suppose. In terms of how our prospects are doing, let's take a look at the progress report. And we'll just quickly scroll through the NHL team, see if there's anybody that got stat growth. So there is, and I'm betting that's negative. Okay, so Jake Muzzin's definitely going down, so maybe it's time that we look at moving on from Jake Muzzin. Mikhail Sergeyev is going up, so he can probably eat a little bit more minutes, and I hope Doughty's not going down, but I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, no, he's going up, so that's great. 31 years old, still getting better. And the ice time that those two guys are munching is just incredible. Mikey Anderson, how's he been doing? He only has one game in the NHL so far. Right wingers, Brett Connolly, I'm guessing he's going down. Yeah, he hasn't really been getting much ice time, so he's really only a fourth liner for us anyway, but I guess we need everybody contributing. Adrian Kempe, he's been going up, so that's nice to see. He's probably about done growing, though. I don't think he'll ever be anything more than a second-line player on our team. Jeff Carter's definitely going down. He's already, potential's gone down to a bottom 6, but right now he's playing on second line just out of pure necessity. In terms of who we got in the system, so no centers are really growing. That's not great to see. Rasmus Kapari's doing not bad, and Hallander. So if they can stay around a point per game, I'll be happy. Jake Neighbors, he'll probably be... I'll have to sign him this offseason. He'll be a guy that we need on our team, and he went up in his puck skills. No development out of our right wingers, and Brant Clark, so that's nice to see. I was really hoping, he's kind of the future on our back end. 6'2", the prototypical size for defenseman, 198, right-hand shot. He'll definitely have a spot on our blue line probably in the next, I'd say, if he keeps growing like that, possibly 3 years. And nothing really out of our goaltenders, but it'll be interesting to see what he does as a overage goaltender in the WHL. Last year he put up really, really good stats, so I'm kind of expecting the same thing from him this year. So with that being said, I think I'm going to sim another month, and I'll pick back up. Probably around the trade deadline, or no, let's do the AllStar Break, and we'll probably end the video there. So we're back here at the All-Star Game break, and we are currently 27, 17, and 6, which is good enough for, I think, we're second in our division. So we're definitely, or no, I guess it's third. We're 1 point back of second. But we're definitely looking like we're going to be a playoff team this year, which is nice to see. In terms of where we're at, we're kind of getting bit with the injury bug a little bit. But before we leave, I think what I'm going to do is look at possibly getting rid of some of our, I guess, more veteran players and maybe replacing them with a little bit younger guys to see if we can acquire even more draft capital or possibly prospects that can help us in the near future. So guys that I'm thinking about getting rid of are likely going to be, let's see, we'll go sort by this. Jake Muzzin, definitely looking at getting rid of him. He's already regressed quite a bit this year. He's on an expiring deal, so I think there'll probably be some interest in him. Maybe I can get a second round pick or somebody with a top 6 potential or top 4 defense potential. We can easily bring up Cale Clegg to replace him for the time being, because right now we're still in that 3-year window where we're not really looking to win, but just gradually improve, and then next year will be when our window opens. Other players that I'm looking to get rid of probably are Brett Connolly, although I don't think there'll probably be much interest in him, just seeing, he's only played, how many games? Like 21 games this year, 7 minutes average on ice. Like he's going to be slow, dull, rusty, anything like that. Other guys I might look to deal would be, I'm probably going to keep Hoffman for the time being. But Jeff Carter, maybe I'll see what kind of interest there is in getting rid of him. And I also think that it's worth, we'll go to rookies, shopping around some of these guys that we know are probably not going to be able to re-sign, or not re-sign, or not be able to re-sign. So guys like Guys like maybe Krill Stetkloff, probably not going to be signing him in the off season, so we may as well try and recoup a little bit of value. So to be able to maybe trade him from being a third round pick to a third or a second. Jake Neighbors will be signing this year. Cheestoff's fine. Who else are we not going to be able to re-sign? I think that's probably about it. And on the defense, on the goaltending, we still have our same 5 goalies that we started the season with. So with that, I think I'm going to leave the video here, and we'll pick up probably tomorrow with another video where we will go from, it'll probably just be a short one where we go from here to the trade deadline and see any kind of moves that we made in that time. So be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.